I'm Ann Charles.
I'm Keith Ghostland.
I'm Linda Quinlan, and welcome to All Things LGBTQ. Today is January 27th, Tuesday, and we are recording at Orca Media, which we acknowledge is unceded Indigenous land. So, Ann, what do you have for us?
Well, let me start with a Gaza statement. Since the declaration of the ceasefire at the Gaza Strip on October 10th, 2025, Israel has violated the agreement with near-daily attacks, killing hundreds of people. Israel violated the ceasefire agreement at least 1,300 times from October 10, 2025 to January 20, 2026, through the continuation of attacks by air, artillery, and direct shootings, the government media office in Gaza reports. The office said Israel shot at civilians 430 times, raided residential areas 66 times, bombed and shelled Gaza 604 times, and demolished people's properties on 200 occasions. It added that Israel also detained 50 Palestinians from Gaza over the last month. Israel has also continued to block vital humanitarian aid and destroy homes and infrastructure across the Strip. And it's very important to note that this genocide is being supported 100% by the government of the United States. So it's unacceptable, it's deplorable, and it's continuing. Now I have some headlines, starting with world headlines. This is a story after my own heart. A study has found widespread same-sex behavior among primates and could help explain why nature is so gay. And let me show you a picture now of bonobo chimpanzees hugging in the wilderness in the Democratic Republic of the Congo.
Are they available for dating? They're pretty cute.
Yeah.
Almost, and I had to look up bonobo. Could be bonobo, but it's bonobo. I'm sure everyone knows that but me. Almost 60 different primate species exhibit same-sex sexual behavior. While homophobes have long claimed that homosexuality isn't natural, a newly published study found that over 59 different primate species that exhibit same-sex sexual behaviors occur in nature. This finding suggests that, they call it SSB for same-sex behavior, may predate the use of the rise of Homo sapiens, modern-day humans. The authors say their findings indicate multiple evolutionary reasons that SSB developed among primates. The first of its kind study, published in the scientific journal Nature, Ecology, and Evolution, noted that although SSB has been observed in over 1,500 animal species, very little is known about their evolutionary origins and how ecological habitats may compel animals to exhibit them. Now here, this sentence exhibits the trait that the scientists warn us against. Gay animal couples have a lot to teach us about love, life, and grieving. And of course, at the end of this article, they warn us not to, think that animals are human and, not to anthropomorphize, which I do and will continue to do rebelliously. The study's authors researched 96 peer-reviewed studies documenting SSB to compile one of the most comprehensive data sets for primates to date. The study found that SSB are a persistent and integral component of primate social practices. In fact, the prevalence of SSB across a variety of closely related primate species and over several lines of descendants indicates a deep evolutionary root, multiple independent evolutionary origins, the study's authors wrote. SSB may strengthen social bonds in extreme climate environments by increasing grooming behaviors, such as hair cleaning, and proximity interactions, which both buffer the physical stress of harsh climates and help manage group tension during periods of high stress. The authors also noted that SSB can help species face ecological conditions that may require behavioral flexibility and social demands that require sustained social cohesion and alliance reinforcement. That is, SSB can help maintain complex social bonds in situations where flexibility can help a species' survival. The study authors noted that individual zoological studies on animal SSB can be difficult to conduct over the long term due to environmental factors, time constraints, or limitations on research capacity. However, the authors said they were particularly interested in learning how SSB among primates might have changed over time in areas that have become drier or more barren due to climate change. Now here's the, here's the reprimand. Zoologists and animal behaviorists don't call animals gay, lesbian, bisexual, or queer, because the word connotes a human sexual orientation with strong cultural and political implications that are irrelevant to non-human species. That's what they say. I don't necessarily believe that at all.
That's terrible.
Rather than giving primates more credit than they deserve, I think we're not giving them enough.
I agree.
Yes.
I agree. And this is the
Yes.
Instead, most scientists will say that animals exhibit same-sex behaviors or homosexual behaviors. And this is to Keith's point. Scientists use phrases to avoid anthropomorphizing animals and seeing them as imperfect copies of humans, a biologist explained. I think humans might be imperfect copies of animals. But that's my view. Okay, now there's a little hoo-ha in Australia over the Mardi Gras event that is going to occur at the end of February. It's
a huge event.
It is huge, and it's full of controversy. It's going to be on February 28th. Sydney gay and lesbian Mardi Gras board members have defied their members' resolutions at their annual general meeting, which call for a stronger focus on transgender rights in the parade, anti-discrimination law reform, and funding. So the membership voted for these three measures, and the board said no. In an email to members on Tuesday,
Why did they say no?
this bogus thing, I'll tell you, signed by Mardi Gras co-chairs Kathy Pavlich, Mitz Deslies, and the board, the organization said it would not implement those resolutions as they did not align with their values, strategic priorities, and long-term sustainability. I mean, what double talk is that?
And what is not their values in that?
Well, and doesn't this sound like Boston Pride all over again? This is what happened in Boston, and they had to totally dissolve in order to reshape and revitalize themselves.
I don't know what's going to happen because it's coming up soon.
Yeah.
After careful consideration, the board has resolved it will not implement the operational elements of the relevant resolutions, the email said. Charlie Murphy and Luke
What is the
Velez,
point?
former members who are part of Pride and Protest, a group pushing to revamp Mardi Gras, criticized the board's decision. Mardi Gras is choosing to deliberately defy their membership and the motions they passed, when in the past they have partially followed through with them. It's a deliberate choice to abandon the trans community politically, they said. The resolutions include recommendations that the board encourage all Pride participants to make support for transgender rights a key part of their floats, as well as members condemning the Trump administration and requesting the board to write to the federal and state governments calling for anti-discrimination law reform. I mean, that's very tame. Informing parliamentarians they will not be welcomed at the parade and Fair Day if they do not commit to this reform in a timely manner. So they wanted them to do it, but they're not gonna. A resolution for Mardi Gras to pursue a funding model under which Mardi Gras would become 100% publicly funded, transitioning entirely away from corporate sponsorship and partnerships, was not implemented.
Good.
It wasn't. They're not going to do it.
Oh, they're not going to do that. Okay.
Now let's look at a picture of Evan Gray, who moved the transgender rights and anti-discrimination law reform resolutions and a spokesperson for Pride in Protest. He said the board's position was spitting in the face of trans people and membership by picking this horrendous fight in the lead up to the season. And so there's more about that. Gray said if the board does not revisit the decision, the community would be forced to hold an extraordinary general meeting. And then, of course, the board says, no, they're not abandoning trans people. Sounds like they are. Okay. Now,
One more story, Ann.
well, all right, let's go to Canada. And let's look at a picture of Anna Chilbin and Ronya Savolanian. And Anna is on the right, and Ronha is on the left. They are an engaged lesbian couple set to compete in the 2026 Olympics. They're from Canada. Can't get enough, and there's all kinds of conversation about heated rivalry that I haven't really talked about at length. Maybe next time. That Canadian television series that's all the rage. Can't get enough of heated rivalry? Then you'll be happy to know that a real-life lesbian version of the Rivals to Lovers queer hockey romance is headed for this year's Winter Olympics. Based on Rachel Reed's Game Changers book series, the hit Crave series tracks a secret years-long romance that unfolds between professional hockey players Shane Hollander and Ilya Rozanov. And there's more about that in a Russia story that's coming up. While the National Hockey League has never had a current or former player come out as gay, the Professional Women's Hockey League is another story entirely. The league currently has 30 openly queer players, including engaged players Anya Chelbin and Rania Savolanian, who are set to compete on different teams in the 2026 Olympics. They first met playing together in the Swedish Women's Hockey League before getting signed to different PWHL, Professional Women's Hockey League teams. After dating for 5 years, they announced their engagement in 2024. Nevertheless, the athletes' romantic relationship hasn't kept them from becoming fierce competitors on the ice. And the Milan 2026 Winter Olympics are certainly no exception. Much like Shane and Ilya competed for Team Canada and Team Russia in Heated Rivalry's second episode, Kilburn and Savolanian will be representing Team Sweden and Team Finland, respectively. This will be Kilbin's first time in the Winter Olympics, whereas Savolanian has previously won a bronze medal in the 2022 Olympics in Finland. Although the couple aren't slated to compete against each other in the Olympics preliminary rounds, their teams could still face off in the medal round. It was the best thing that could happen that she got drafted in Toronto, and I got drafted in Ottawa, Savolanian added. I was more nervous to see where she was ending up than where I ended up. We're in the same country, at least, on the same side of the world, so I'm super happy.
Yeah.
So the trivia question in January is Mental Health Awareness Month. So as we're coming towards the end of it, this legendary LGBTQ plus musician and EGOT winner sought treatment for bulimia and cocaine addiction in 1990. They said they were in denial about their mental health issues for over 16 years, thinking they could fix them on their own. Where have we made that mistake? In a 2002 interview with Larry King, they said, it was the best thing I ever did, but you know, those 3 words, I need help. If only I'd said them earlier. So.
That could go for quite a few people.
I know.
Yeah.
We can get T-shirts. So looking at events, Rainbow Umbrella Women's Discussion Group, which is the day after we taped this. And from the notes, you're going to talk about Alice Neal, an American visual artist.
That is correct.
And you're pretty excited about this?
Yes.
And the book discussion group is still Chelsea Girls, or have we moved on?
We have moved on.
Hombrecitos.
Oh.
Hombrecitos. I just finished it.
And do you like it?
It's interesting. Very good.
Okay, that was kind of a
Yeah.
guarded response. Okay,
Colombian immigrant gay novel.
I was going to say, I'll wait for your review and gay and lesbian review of the book. LGBTQ Story Hour.
Yes, coming right up.
Tuesday, February 10th, 6 to 7 p.m., Barry Social Club. February 10th may be a love theme?
No,
Really? That close to Valentine's Day and not a...
I decided against themes. It boxes people.
I'm going to put my stories aside then, so...
You can do one, of course,
But
but I'm not going to make it a theme.
Mosaic, their variety show fundraiser, We Go Together Like, is at the Montpelier Arts Hub, February 7th. And if you go on their website, they're selling tickets now.
Okay.
So they've got it all lined up. A reminder, Sunday, February 1st, which is, if you're watching this Saturday night, get up early in the morning, go to Rainbow Bridge, Pancakes for the People. And it's a full breakfast. It's by donation. The monies go to help the worthy causes associated with Rainbow Bridge. Or if you are hungry, please come. And they're trying to do this once a month during the winter, and they do it weekly
bacon?
during the summers.
Is there bacon?
Full breakfast including pancakes, eggs, and greens, as well as gluten-free and vegan options.
Okay.
You're sleeping in, I can see that. Savoy Theater, Thursday, February 12th, and I understand you're going to be gone. The Librarians. And this is a documentary about, the effort to try and parental control, intellectual freedom, democracy itself, sparked by the controversial Krauss list in Texas, which targets 850 books centered on race, LGBTQ plus stories, and the attempt to move them off the shelves. It's a free showing, but you do have to register for it. And I already have.
Very good.
So I'll report back.
Good.
So this is something that I had missed before. Drag Race Viewing Party with Miss Chekova. If you're one of the people who likes Drag Race, every Friday from 7:30 to 10 at Einstein's Tap House, Church Street in Burlington, come together, let's have a good time, and we'll watch RuPaul's Drag Race
Whoa.
together. So,
Hey,
upcoming event for Vermont Cares, and I want to put in acknowledgement that Kel Arbor, who had been working for the Pride Center in their health program, is now working at Vermont Cares, and we're
Good.
thankful that
They've landed on their feet.
they'll be a
that
great asset.
they are
They
being
be a great
supported.
asset.
But this is Winter is a Drag Ball 31. I can't believe it's been 31 years. The theme is Beach, Beauty and the Beach. Higher Ground, Saturday, February 21st. Do you need a bit of sunshine and glam?
Get your
Because
pink
life
shirt
is a
out.
beach. Come decked out in your favorite Disney character, or bring beach vibes to heat up the cold. So, and you can go on to Higher Ground's website to get tickets, whatever. And just a reminder, February 24th and 25th at the Flynn is Kinky Boots.
Yeah.
So,
Do you have your ticket?
no, they said there were a few tickets left, but the last time I looked for the date I was able to go, they were sold out.
Wow.
So
It's a must not miss.
what you got?
Well, I got exciting news.
We're counting on it.
I know. Gus Kenworthy made history
Oh, I'm glad you have him.
back in 2015 when he came out as the first out gay extreme sports competitor, and is making his long-awaited comeback at this year's Winter Olympics. In a conversation with The New Yorker, the freestyle skier shared that he was moved by heated rivalry and said he can understand what the closeted gay athletes had gone through, so he identified with the film. So,
Which is on HBO Max, and I've been struggling
I know.
with, do I subscribe to it just to see
Same
it
here.
or wait until I can stream it someplace else? But
Everybody's talking about it.
I know. We're going to be the outcasts.
I know.
an Emmy-winning queer journalist, Jana Sortel, says she was shoved and pepper sprayed by federal agents in Minneapolis on Saturday, while reporting on the aftermath of Alex Preddy's death. Shortle explained that she remained behind the crime scene lines that they had put up, and her press credentials were clearly shown, and she can be seen in a video where she posted to Instagram. At some point, she said, a couple of Border Patrol agents decided to move the crime scene tape back, and that's when she was shoved and pushed and hit the ground. And here is a picture of her. Bree Pham, the 23-year-old veteran, was forcibly separated from the military in December following the Trump administration's purge of transgender service members, announced on Tuesday that she will be a candidate for the 11th District congressional seat in Northern Virginia. Fran was the highest-ranking trans service member when she was promoted to the rank of colonel in 2024. I will fight to make our Virginia communities more affordable, protect our rights, and build a government that actually works for you. I intend to deliver an accessible, inclusive American dream, ensuring that Virginia remains diverse, safe, and economically vibrant for all. And here's their picture.
I hope they win.
And Los Angeles-based drag queen Lauren Benal is raising thousands for the American Civil Liberties Union after going viral on TikTok for impersonating conservative leader Erica Kirk. Videos of Benal, I think it's Benal, lip-syncing to Kirk's voice have garnered over 10.5 million views on TikTok. In the videos, Benal wore a blonde wig, red blazer, and sparky undershirt, and made comedic facial reactions while lip-syncing to Kirk's misquoting of a Bible verse, and Kirk's telling conspiracy theorists to stop spreading lies about her husband. One video concluded with Benal then joyously dancing to Cassandra's 2009 song, Evacuate the Dance Floor.
I'm kind of surprised that TikTok aired it because right now TikTok is filtering out anti-Trump rhetoric, so I'm kind of surprised it hasn't extended a little
Isn't
further.
TikTok, though, still run by the Chinese? I mean, why would they?
They've signed an agreement
Oh,
with
really?
the American
Fascists.
friends of,
Oh, God. Well, just days before LGBTQ plus ally Governor-elect Abigail Spanberger, a Democrat, is set to replace Virginia's Republican Governor, Glenn Youngkin. When she is sworn in on Saturday, a rural school board has adopted a sweeping new policy restricting transgender students' rights while simultaneously continuing to block a proposed middle school gender and sexuality alliance. So they're trying to get it all done before.
I hope she can repeal it.
Yeah, really. Well, she could probably have a,
executive order.
saying, nobody can do this, sorry. The person who has been throwing bags of dog poop at an LGBTQ youth center in Los Angeles has been found, but isn't facing any charges. Police in Bell, California have identified the man captured on video throwing bags of feces for over half a year. But because his actions have been deemed a littering offense, he isn't being charged. Officials said at a public cleanup and press conference hosted by the center on Wednesday that an officer would need to witness the act to issue him a citation. Isn't that interesting?
Well, I'm sitting here going, it's nice to telegraph the, if I'm not looking, do whatever you want.
Ruby Jade Corrado's name was once synonymous with hope in Washington, D.C.'s LGBT community. A Salvadorian immigrant whose nonprofit, Casa Ruby, became a refuge for homeless and transgender youth. On Tuesday, the legacy was dramatically overshadowed by a federal judge's ruling that will send her to prison for nearly 3 years for defrauding the very communities she set out to serve.
That's such a drag.
A conservative legal group representing parents and teachers in California has filed an emergency appeal with the U.S. Supreme Court, asking it to allow school officials to inform parents and guardians about students' transgender identity, including choosing names, pronouns, even without the student's consent.
And we need to be attentive because there are 2 cases before the U.S. Supreme Court where that is a core part of what was being argued. So.
Okay, and we'll move on to you now.
Okay. Let's go to Cuba. I'd like to show you a clip of Transformistas, which was filmed in 2022. It follows the original group of Cuban drag queens as they stuff, pad, and perform their way into our hearts. But behind the makeup and beneath the wigs, we meet the Cubans who have sacrificed everything for their art, defying the status quo and rewriting LGBTQ history in the process. So let's look at now a clip from Transformistas.
Open the door!
Very good. Where can we see this?
We can see it on YouTube.
All right.
Looks like fun. Now I have another fun story, sort of, a story of resistance. The headline is, "We're still gay and we're still fabulous. Shop owners fight vandalism with positivity and humor." So now let's look at a picture of this shop, which is, "This shop is so gay" is the title of it. So there it is. The owners of an LGBTQ plus gift shop in the UK are fighting back against repeated homophobic vandalism with humor and positivity. Claire Platts, who co-owns This Shop Is So Gay in York with her brother Xander, detailed the latest incident in a July 19th Instagram post. Our gay shop has been egged. she explains in a video clip showing several broken eggs that were allegedly thrown at the storefront. Eggs are expensive, Claire jokes in the clip. Throwing one at a shop window is a choice, and if your enemy is a shop window, you're already losing. Post comments are filled with similar good-humored support. Ma'am, you missed the chance to say extremely gay, one response reads, to which the shop replied, oh, that would have been excellent. This is far from the first time Platz's shop has been vandalized. As the BBC reported in April, soon after the siblings opened their current location in York's Parliament Street in March, a pride flag displayed outside the store was ripped down twice within 3 weeks. Xander told the outlet that even at their former location, some passers-by would shout aggressively at the shop, which had the word gay painted across its front in large letters. We've always said we're going to turn hate to great, so every time somebody is hateful, we make something great out of it, he said. When they were hateful about the little gay shop, it got more successful for us because people kept coming in and telling us their stories. Since then, the shop has posted several videos to Instagram detailing more instances of vandalism and harassment. In late May, someone allegedly cut the string lights decorating the store's entrance. In July, Claire reported that someone had ripped down a trans pride flag that flew outside the shop. In August, Claire posted a video claiming that 2 girls had released a box full of live crickets all over the shop. I think they thought they were being clever, but all they actually did was make themselves look a bit pathetic. She said in the clip, the Platzes have since adopted one of the crickets as the shop's mascot, naming it Lady Gaga.
I was going to say, in China, that would be considered a blessing. Right.
Yeah.
On Instagram, Claire also detailed numerous instances of people entering the shop to harass her and passers-by heckling the storefront. Following the flag vandalism in April, which damaged the storefront's brickwork, the Platzes said they raised nearly $1,000 in small community donations via an online fundraiser, inspiring them to launch a charity aimed at building a fun LGBTQ+ history museum in the shop's basement. It's all about, for me and Claire, having fun before we die, Xander told BBC, and laughing as much as possible.
Where is York? Is that?
Well,
It's southeast of London, I believe.
Okay.
But I was wondering how much the tariff would be if I tried to order something online from them.
I know, that would be great.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah. Okay. Okay, now let's look at a little activism in London, in the city of Westminster. Activists chalk messages outside Harry Potter play reminding fans they are fueling transphobia. So let's look at some of these messages that are across the street outside the Palace Theatre in the city of Westminster, London. One of the messages reads, spread love, not hate, boycott Harry Potter. Another reads, Harry Potter tattoos have a higher regret rate than transition. Trans rights activists protested a production of Harry Potter and the Cursed Child at London's Palace Theatre last Sunday, writing a series of chalk messages urging fans to avoid seeing this show. The action was organized by Defund Transphobes, which holds chalk and talk events all over the country, involving both writing messages and chatting with folks about what it means to be trans. In particular, they have targeted areas near the Waterstones bookstore, and you can see them, chalking trans flags on the sidewalk in great numbers. The chain has a large partnership with Harry Potter and centers the books and merchandise in its stores. The group is engaged in peaceful disruption inside Waterstone stores, too, like holding a funeral for Harry Potter in some locations over the summer. One of the group's main objectives is to help folks understand that the money they spend on the Harry Potter franchise now goes directly to anti-trans causes. Rowling has moved from merely speaking out against trans identity to using her vast fortune to fund the rollback of UK civil protections for trans people. The author J.K. Rowling's Women's Fund, JKRWF, has been quietly operating since late 2024 to support legal cases focusing on dismantling trans rights.
I don't think it was quiet, do you?
The fund is just her latest effort to end trans women's rights in the UK. In February 2024, she pledged £70,000, which is about $89,000, for women to For Women Scotland, an anti-trans organization behind the legal challenge that resulted in the UK Supreme Court ruling that excluded trans women from the country's new law prohibiting sex-based discrimination. In one particularly cruel gesture, Rowling posted a celebratory photo of herself after the UK Supreme Court ruled that trans women are not to be considered women under the 2010 Equality Act. In the photo, Rowling sits on a balcony overlooking the ocean holding a cocktail and smoking a cigar while wearing a self-satisfied smirk. I love it when a plan comes together, she wrote, adding Supreme Court, / women's rights to ensure people knew exactly what she was talking about. According to The Guardian, the Harry Potter franchise is worth an estimated $25 billion. In a May 28 Blue Sky post, British barrister Jonathan Maum wondered how much of Rowling's fortune would be spent oppressing a minoritized group she doesn't like. Now, Italian fashion designer Valentino has died at 93. Let's look at a picture of him. He's known as, he was Valentino Garavani, one of the giants of 20th century fashion. His creations were worn by celebrities and well-known figures, including Elizabeth Taylor, Nancy Reagan, Sharon Stone, Julia Roberts, and Gwyneth Paltrow. He co-founded the Valentino Fashion House in 1960 and ranked alongside Giorgio Armani and Karl Lagerfeld at the top of the profession. He passed away peacefully in his Rome home, surrounded by the love of his family. He was born in 1932, known for collections that displayed luxury, wealth, and opulence. Let's now go to Asia and look at a picture of a Japanese group, Extraordinary Girls, which has changed its name after one of the members came out as non-binary. So it's a pop group, it's called SG. It's announced the name change a month after one of its members came out as non-binary. The 7-member group's record label, X-Gels, put out a January 12th press release announcing that XG no longer stands for Extraordinary Girls, as a moniker has since launched the group of social media presence in the early 2022. That's what they started out as. Instead, the initials now stand for Extraordinary Genes. According to Billboard, the new name represents the innate creativity, individuality, and forward-thinking energy embedded within each member of XG. More than a rebrand, the shift serves as a declaration of evolution from their starting point to the source that drives their artistry as the group continues shaping culture within boundaries. Now, the change comes a month after member Kokona's announcement that they are trans-masculine binary. In a December 8 post to XG's official Instagram account, Kokona shared that they had received top surgery earlier in 2025. I was born and perceived as female, but that label never represented who I am. I live in a way that feels more masculine and true to who I am, they wrote in the post's caption. The hardest thing I've ever faced was accepting and embracing myself, but as I slowly began to do that, I was able to open a new door. The post, shared on Kokona's 20th birthday, also included a series of photos of the artist wearing a green velvet suit with no shirt underneath. What appear to be top surgery scars are clearly visible on their torso. So let's look at that picture. May these words gently light a spark in someone's heart, Kokona wrote, and to everyone who needs it, may my love reach all of them. XG's debut album, The Core, is due out January 23rd. The group will kick off a tour in February. Now
I think we need to move to We may have some extra time, but we'll see.
Okay, because I have all of Asia to cover.
No,
Which is quite vast, as I
Yeah.
recall.
It's only 4 stories.
we'll see.
I want to start by acknowledging Ann's commitment to the Gaza statement and challenging us not to be complicit. We absolutely cannot be complicit for what our government is allowing ICE to do. ICE is murdering people on the streets without consequence. It is totally unacceptable. And part of my bringing it up now is that ICE is in Maine.
Yeah.
And what Becca and Peter have already said is how soon before they move here into Vermont. And I want to say that Vermont is already in the crosshairs. We're already a target for them. And some of it is going to be because of, partly because of the statement that our governor gave after the most recent murder in Minneapolis, where he said, enough, it's not acceptable for American citizens to be killed by federal agents for exercising their God-given and constitutional rights to protest their government. At worst, it's a deliberate federal intimidation and incitement of American citizens that's resulting in the murder of Americans. Again, enough is enough. And looking at some of the things that are already happening. Champlain Valley School is one of 18 schools that is being targeted because of their support of transgender students and transgender athletes. They're being actively investigated. And what's interesting is that the school district only found out about the investigation because the Department of Education had posted it on their website. They were never given notice. And what to keep in mind is the only time that type of investigation is launched is when a formal complaint has been made. Now, to my knowledge, there is not a transgender athlete competing at the Champlain Valley High School. So it is totally because of their policies, which are the same as every other Vermont school district, but they are the only school that's been singled out. Might not have anything to do with the fact that that was the district that Bill Lippert represented for over 25 years and had spoken out against the federal administration. And the school and the school board, to their credit, stood up and said, we will protect and preserve the dignity of all of our students.
Good.
The other thing that has happened.
I do want to add something to your
Go ahead.
introduction when our legislator said, it's only a matter of time before ICE comes here. ICE is here.
Oh, no, I was going to go there as well.
Good.
They are already here. They're already active. One of the things that I want to draw people's attention to is
Good.
our preparing ourselves and talking about some of the things that are already happening. Going on the migrant justice site, which we have reported on before, saying this is how to observe and report. This is how to do it safely. If you see, and there was an indication with the arrest that happened in Cambridge that they were following a specific car. They knew the identification of the car, the license plate. They knew the convenience store where they were that they would stop at. And what Migrant Justice was saying is videotape it. Call their hotline, report it, let them know what's going on, so then they can step in and say, where are you taking these people, where they're being housed, to ensure that they have adequate legal representation.
Are we getting whistles?
That's one of the things that we could consider doing. I mean, one of the other things that's happening is the Federal Budget Office is looking at 10 different states and asking for an accounting of where all of their money, all of the federal money is going, both grants, allocations, to ensure it's not being misused. And they're all Democratic states that voted for Kamala Harris, and then Vermont is the outlier, because we also voted for Kamala Harris. And they're requiring that they get all of this budget information within this very short period of time. And they were very careful to say that this is not, we're withholding funds, this is just data collection. And the reason they may have couched it like that is because Charity Clark has recently shared that she has been involved in filing 41 suits against the current administration. And of those suits that have been settled or a decision made, she was successful in 93% of them, which isn't impressive. But there are things that Vermont is already doing, as Ann and I were discussing before we started taping. Williston. The Williston Select Board passed unanimously a resolution that they were not in support of the 2 ICE facilities that are currently housed in Williston. And of interest, it was our friend Christine Hultquist who wrote the resolution, and in comment has said, there's really no, it's a strong statement, but there's really not much they can do about it. And as we found out, they have a 10-year non-cancelable lease for those 2 facilities. But that doesn't mean that our elders aren't going out and demonstrating and, oh my, am I blocking you coming and going from the facility? I wonder how that happened. And there are 2 pieces of legislation that are moving very quickly through our Vermont Senate. And it's S-208 and S-209, and 2 of the co-sponsors are 2 of our Washington County Senators, Ann Watson and Andrew Perchik. And 208 is an interesting one. It's modeled after a piece of legislation that passed in California that says that law enforcement cannot wear masks or any kind of disguise, so you cannot see their identity. And what's different about the Vermont version than what was passed in California is Vermont is doing it for all law enforcement, not just federal agents, because the California law is being challenged because they specifically targeted the federal, which is unconstitutional. And our Commissioner of Public Safety may have already gone in and testified in favor of this bill. And 209 is they cannot make a civil arrest in a sensitive location, such as
School, church.
Churches weren't included. Schools are, government buildings, which would be federal courthouses or immigration offices, shelters, or healthcare facilities. So, and the Vermont faith community, they have already sent out notices to all of their churches and congregations saying that federal officers are allowed in the public areas but not the private areas, and instructing them all on signs to put in their windows saying all are welcome except ICE agents, which on its face, if you have it posted on the door, then they cannot come in. So with that,
I heard in Minneapolis, like a lot of restaurants and different places had no ice allowed in here.
Yeah.
Well, and it's part of your right. You can refuse service to anyone. Remember during the first administration, the press secretary going to a very upscale Washington restaurant
Right.
and the party being told, we're sorry, we will not serve you.
Yeah.
Oh, me, oh, my.
Lovely.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, we have a federal magistrate judge in Minneapolis rejected charging gay journalist Don Lemon after he covered a protest inside a St. Paul church Sunday concerning journalism groups about silencing coverage. The judge would not sign the charging complaint against him, which has angered Attorney General Pam Bondi.
What a shame.
Oh,
Yeah, they were trying to charge him with he was obstructing their freedom of religion.
some craziness.
Yeah.
New York police are searching for the person who attacked a man on a subway train the evening of January 10th when the man was kissing his transgender female partner. The attacker shouted homophobic slurs and then slashed the right side of the man's face with a sharp object. In earlier drafts, the so-called Big Beautiful Bill included a provision that would have ended Medicaid payments for gender transition procedures for people of all ages and introduced narrowly rigid definitions of sex, female and male, that some experts believed would have far-reaching implications beyond access to health care. However, amid a flurry of revisions and amendments, the controversial ban on gender-affirming care was removed shortly before Senate Republicans voted to pass the legislation on Tuesday.
That is good news, a little bit of good news.
And for my final story, I'll give you a few minutes.
Oh,
Ann.
good.
Only a few.
Okay.
Kristen, is it Cinema?
Cinema.
Cinema.
Oh, Kristen Sinema, yeah.
Self-proclaimed bisexual and Democratic, turned independent from U.S. Senator known for bucking party orthodoxy, left Congress last year, but is now back in the headlines as she faces a lawsuit
Homewrecker.
for allegedly breaking up a 14-year marriage of one of her staffers while in office. And the complaint, which in North Carolina you can sue for taking away the affections of somebody or something, but anyway. In a complaint, which was first filed in September in North Carolina, plaintiff Heather Amell accused her of seducing her ex-husband, Matthew Amell, who began working for her in April 2022, part of her security detail. Her attorney asked to move the suit to federal court this week to avoid state charges. So,
Wow.
alienation of affection.
Yep.
You can't do that in every state, but you can in
No.
North Carolina.
I know, I saw that.
Yeah. And,
Okay, I have three more Asian stories.
well, you only have like 3 minutes.
Because we've got the trivia.
Okay, 2 men detained in China for sharing AI-altered gay pandas photo. And the fake headline was, 2 male Sichuan giant pandas successfully mate for the first time without human intervention. 29-year-old and a 33-year-old were arrested for maliciously associating queerness with certain Chinese cities. So they're in trouble. Russian publisher closes an imprint for selling LGBTQ books after a government raid. I'm surprised they lasted as long as they did. Popcorn Books launched in 2018. They were for 18-plus readers, describing their books as exciting fiction for young adults and adults that touches on topics which are still regarded as controversial in today's Russia. These are books about queer characters, self-identification, racism, sexism, mental health issues, and more. And they had to close on January 13th.
Well, they were around for a while, considering.
I know, and they have a very sad, valedictory message to their readers. And then,
Did they go to the gulag, or they just had to close?
They just had to close. Although some of the staff have been arrested. It's been an attenuation,
Yeah.
you know.
Okay.
Russian streamers are charged with violating anti-LGBTQ speech law as heated rivalry gets popular. So streaming services, and there are many of them, have been arrested. And they didn't say why, but it coincides with the popularity of heated rivalry. The charges were subjecting minors to LGBTQ propaganda and heated rivalry. People are identifying with the Russian character apparently. The series has an 8.6 rating on Russia's equivalent of Rotten Tomatoes, which is a higher rating than both Game of Thrones and another popular series, Breaking Bad, which were the platform's two most watched shows. And so, anyway, people are identifying with him, with this Russian character. 55% of Russia's under 25 support equal rights for LGBTQ people and even same-sex marriage.
Oh.
So that's good news
That's
from
good
Russia.
news, thank you.
My pleasure.
It's a good way to end that series.
Yes.
So before I go on and reveal the legendary musician who's the answer to this week's trivia question, I want you all to be waiting for Anne's interview with Margie Adam. Speaking of legendary musicians, and here's my question, or my challenge, and you could bring it up in the women's discussion group. How many of you played Beautiful Soul to your new lover? Right? So, it was going into recovery. It was the best thing I ever did, but you know, those 3 words, I need help. If only I'd said them earlier. As soon as I said eyeglasses, Elton John.
Yes.
So
There we
with
go.
that,
Rocket Man.
yeah.
So remember, it's more important every day to resist.
Resist.